Okay, so picture this. It's a totally regular afternoon, you've got a spare minute, so you just casually open your phone. And almost instantly, bam, you see someone your exact age just bought a gorgeous new house. You swipe a couple times, someone else is off traveling the world. Swipe again, a former classmate just launched this wildly successful business. Suddenly, you're staring at all these people who seem happier, richer, healthier, and just way more confident than you are. Now think about this. Literally nothing in your actual life changed in those 60 seconds. Not a single thing. But all of a sudden, your own achievements, they feel tiny. Your progress feels painfully slow. The life you were perfectly happy with just 5 minutes ago suddenly doesn't feel like it's enough. Well, welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking exactly why our brains do this to us, how modern social media algorithms are literally designed to hijack this natural instinct, and most importantly, how we can actually break free from this status trap. Let's get right into it.
So it really all boils down to this one simple question. You see, the human brain doesn't judge success in a vacuum. It just doesn't. It judges success purely through comparison. You almost never wake up and just ask yourself, hey, am I improving? No, your brain automatically goes, am I doing better or am I doing worse than everyone around me? And honestly, this explains so much. It's exactly why you can go out, achieve literally everything you ever set out to do, and still have that nagging, lingering feeling in the back of your mind that you're somehow falling behind.
Which brings us to our first main concept here. Section 1, a prehistoric survival tool.
Now, before we get too down on ourselves for feeling jealous or insecure, we really need to understand something crucial. This urge to compare, it is not a personal flaw. It's definitely not some moral failing on your part. It's actually a deeply ingrained prehistoric survival mechanism. So imagine you're living thousands of years ago, right? You're in a small tribe. Your everyday survival depended 100% on the people around you, and specifically on your access to four absolute necessities: protection, food, information, and social support. But here's the kicker. Not everyone in that tribe had the same status. Some people were super respected while others were kind of pushed to the margins. In that environment, knowing exactly where you stood was literally a matter of life and death. If your social standing dropped, you could lose access to the food or the protection. So your brain became hardwired to constantly scan the room asking, who's stronger? Who has more resources? Who's getting the most attention?
And that brings us to why this is such a massive problem today. It's all about the sheer mind-boggling scale. That ancient comparison system, it was built to keep our ancestors alive in a group of, maybe 20 or 30 people. It was absolutely not designed to make them happy. And today, that exact same ancient hardware is still running perfectly inside your modern mind. But here's the absurd part. Your tribe is no longer 30 people in a small physical space where real-world survival is on the line. Today, your brain is desperately trying to navigate a digital tribe of potentially millions of people on the internet, constantly fighting this invisible battle for digital status. And that brings us right into section 2, the social media trap.
To really get why the internet makes us feel so incredibly inadequate, we have to recognize that the human mind basically runs on reference points. Like if someone tells you they make $50,000 a year, your brain literally doesn't know if that's a lot or a little until it compares it to something else. And this leads us straight into upward comparison, which is when we look at someone who appears more successful. Now, naturally, this can sometimes be motivating, but modern algorithms, they completely weaponize this instinct. See, these algorithms are hyper-optimized for one thing, your engagement. Because of that, they mathematically guarantee that your feed is just constantly flooded with the top 0.1% of ultra-successful, hyper-viral content. So instead of seeing one successful person and getting inspired, the algorithm blasts you with an endless stream of impossible standards, practically forcing you to view their success as proof that you're failing. Then, on the flip side of that coin, we have downward comparison. This is when you compare yourself to someone who seems to be struggling more than you are. And yeah, sure, doing this might give you a quick hit of gratitude or a tiny, temporary ego boost, but relying on this is super dangerous because it just breeds arrogance. You basically end up building your entire foundation of self-worth on the idea that someone else is beneath you. So whether you're looking up or looking down, both of these comparisons are total traps. They both force your self-worth to be entirely dependent on where other people are standing. And think about how this used to work. For almost all of human history, you compared yourself to people you actually knew in real life. You saw the whole picture, their strengths, their weaknesses, their wins, and their really bad days. But today, the algorithmic filter creates a completely rigged game. It heavily exacerbates upward comparison by stripping away all the context.
You are sitting there comparing your completely ordinary, boring, unedited Tuesday, along with all your private, messy struggles, to a total stranger's highly curated, heavily filtered, absolute best moment of their entire year. You see this incredible, jaw-dropping vacation, but you don't see the massive mountain of credit card debt they took on to pay for it. You see the flawless relationship, but you definitely don't see the screaming matches behind closed doors.
The emotional toll of this illusion it's devastating, really. Because your brain basically just responds to the data it's given, it constantly forgets that it's looking at an incomplete picture. It starts treating these extreme, highly edited algorithmic highlights as if they are just normal everyday life. And once that happens, your baseline expectations just get completely warped. Suddenly, having a totally healthy, normal body feels unattractive. A stable, solid career feels like a massive disappointment. A loving, normal relationship feels boring. And a perfectly good, everyday life literally starts to feel like a total failure.
Which brings us to the next piece of the puzzle. Section 3, chasing a moving finish line. Whenever comparison touches something deeply tied to your core identity, like your intelligence or your looks or your career, it stings the most. It stops being about what you have and it starts attacking who you are. We get sucked into this massive status trap where we make this really hidden but incredibly toxic mistake. We treat someone else's strength as undeniable proof of our own weakness. But if we just step back and think about it logically for a second, their success absolutely did not take a single thing away from you. Somebody else finding love doesn't magically make you unlovable. Someone else being insanely talented doesn't drain the talent out of your own body, right? Someone crushing it at age 25 does not mean it's too late for you at 35. Life is just not a single giant race with only one winner. But we still get caught chasing that high of feeling ahead. And it's a trap because of a psychological concept known as adaptation. It basically works like this. On day 1, you get the new phone or the new house or the big promotion, and it feels absolutely life-changing. But by month 6, your lifestyle has totally adjusted. That extraordinary thing has just become your new boring normal. And by year 1, your brain is already scanning the horizon, desperately searching for the next level. Because of comparison, you immediately focus on whatever you still lack. You keep telling yourself, okay, I'll finally be happy when I just reach that next level. But by the time you actually get there, you immediately spot someone else who's 10 steps ahead of you. The finish line literally keeps moving. You're not even chasing a real goal anymore. You are just endlessly chasing this fleeting feeling of being ahead of everyone else.
And when that endless chase becomes your entire life, it leads straight into self-sabotage. I mean, think about it. You see someone online who spent 10 brutal years mastering a skill, you compare it to your very first month trying it, you get totally discouraged, and you just quit before you even give yourself a chance to grow. Or even worse, you start copying goals that aren't even really yours. You pursue the specific career just because it looks impressive in a social media bio, or you buy expensive stuff purely for strangers to admire. You end up building this lifestyle that looks incredibly successful from the outside, but inside, it feels totally empty. Basically, you stop living an actual life and you start performing for an invisible audience.
So, how do we actually get out of this? Let's move to section 4, redefining your own success.
We've clearly established that you can't just flip a switch and turn off the comparison part of your brain. It's automatic. It's evolutionary hardware. But what you absolutely can do is change how you respond to it. And in doing so, reclaim your self-worth. So here are 4 highly actionable steps you can start using right now. First, compare information, not identities. When you see someone doing incredibly well, try to flip that jealousy into curiosity. Ask yourself, hey, what can their progress actually teach me about my own habits or skills? Second, start comparing yourself across time. The only question you really need to ask is, am I wiser or more disciplined than I was last year? Your own past self is an infinitely fairer reference point than some random stranger on the internet. Third, aggressively reduce your exposure to triggers. Seriously, it is not a sign of weakness to unfollow or mute accounts that constantly make you feel like garbage. Your attention shapes your entire emotional environment, so protect it. And finally, number 4, you have to actively define your own success before the algorithm does it for you. And I want you to genuinely, really ask yourself this question right now. What does a good life actually mean to you? Honestly, is it peace? Is it financial freedom? Is it just having the time to hang out with your family on a Tuesday afternoon? Is it creative purpose? Because if you don't take the time to actively choose your own definition of success, I promise you, you will spend your entire life exhausting yourself, just endlessly running on a treadmill, chasing a total stranger's definition of it.
Always remember that when you're looking at a screen, you are only ever seeing a tiny, highly polished, heavily edited fraction of someone else's journey. Someone else's chapter 10 does not make your chapter 3 meaningless. It just doesn't. You don't know their whole story. You don't see their hidden advantages, their lucky breaks, or the massive behind-the-scenes struggles they're dealing with. Judging your entire self-worth based on their completely different starting conditions just creates this terribly false picture in your head. Listen, their speed is not your deadline. And their success is definitely not your failure. I want to leave you with this final, truly powerful thought to chew on. You do not need to win someone else's race to make progress in your own. The ultimate goal of your life is absolutely not to become better or richer or more attractive than every single person around you. The actual goal is just to become more honest, more capable, and more fulfilled than the person you used to be. Because the exact moment you stop living your life as a reaction to what you see on the internet is the exact moment you finally begin living a life that actually belongs to you. So ask yourself today, whose race are you really running? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.